Hello and welcome to Borrow My Belief, a podcast that's designed to inspire you to live your heart. And today's an unusual one because we're outside, and I don't think I've done one outside yet. And I'm with this fabulous woman, Angela Rainbow. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for, I think it's 6 days. And oh my God, have I found a woman who really is following her heart and her passion to the point where she's willing to be so different to everybody else. And it's just a real pleasure to watch somebody stand in that truth. And I know it's not been an easy ride. I know we're not going to too many personal details, but you've really had quite the time, haven't you, Angela?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Over the years, most definitely.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited about having you on here today. I'm actually recorded this a bit back to front, so after you've seen this bit, you're going to see Angela's an astrologist, and she's been reading my chart, and over these 6 days we're staying in the same place. She's given me little snippets, and then today she's looked more deeply into my career. And the reason I asked her to come on this podcast is because I'm so fascinated by the way she reads a chart, which is different to what I've had done before. It's more around what Angela calls wounding, but in a positive way, about how to help you move forward in life, about looking at you. And she's got me convinced that this stuff's real. It really is real, and there's things that she knew about me that it's mind-blowing. Anyway, tell us your story about the astrology and why you've come to be so passionate about it.
Oh, well, my astrology journey started when I was about 10-year-old.
Wow.
And I used to pick up astrology books, and my parents didn't know why. And I think it was just, obviously, it came from a past life.
Yeah.
I know I did live here in Glastonbury in another lifetime, and I've been very connected to the Abbey. Because the Benedictines were great astrologers as well.
So we're in the Abbey just now, and as you can see, she's not talking like common speak, right? You're willing to own all this stuff.
Oh,
it's
yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So how did you find astrology at 10 years old? Was it in a library? What?
No, it just happened. It just happened. I just used to find books because I was an avid reader. So I always had to have books, to read. And I started just going in, and I'd find little trinkets or key rings. It all had astrology signs on, and nobody knew why I was drawn to it. I bought posters and put them all around my room instead of a pin-up, in my teenage years.
Yeah.
And the books just followed on from there. And I've got hundreds of astrology books that I'd read over my working years. And I just used to read the book and put it down. I never really practiced astrology. But it was like I just absorbed the information. And then in the last maybe 10 years, a lot more started coming back to me. I speak of timelines. So the timelines were opening up, and, the ages were clearing out, and all this information and the wisdoms. I had an awakening experience, and I believe a lot of my past life wisdoms were fully downloaded to me in that awakening experience.
So for anybody who doesn't know what awakening experience is, on this podcast we've talked about dark nights of the soul, we've talked about depression, we've talked about all sorts. For anybody who doesn't know what an awakening experience is, tell me what happened, when, and what that looked like for you.
Well, I can only describe it as similar to a Kundalini awakening, I suspect, because I'd never had one, but from what I've experienced and what I've read about. But it was very unique in that I'd never experienced anything like that in my life before.
Yeah.
I was very close to a reservoir in Yorkshire, where my family lineage is from. And it was just one sunny afternoon. I was with my family, and the heavens just opened with light. And I do believe that Archangel Gabriel came down and spoke to me, and I could see the sun, and I could see the images that were coming down through the sky to me, and it was quite profound. And I fell to the floor, and when I woke up I was crying, and the energy that I experienced that day was so profound, and my life was never the same again.
When was that, Angela?
That was August the 9th, 2020.
Yeah.
So it did tie in with the astrology. I checked my astrology, obviously, and a lot of things had happened on that day. But my life was never the same again. It was like a veil just went like that, and what I could see everything really clearly, that I just hadn't seen before. And people do have these spiritual awakenings. But yeah, for me, it was just, and then I wanted to write my book. So I thought, right, I'll start at the beginning of the story for my autobiography, because I wanted to put this in with my astrology. And I came back down to Bridgewater, Taunton. I was born in Taunton. But on the way, we came to Glastonbury. And this is where the Glastonbury story started. Again, but I used to come to Glastonbury as a child. But, you know, the awakening experience, I've been back to the place many, many times in Yorkshire. And it's, you know, it isn't as it was that afternoon. It's definitely an angelic intervention that day.
So we're actually sat in the Glastonbury Abbey. I've been coming here quite a lot recently, and for anybody who doesn't know, Glastonbury is a very spiritual town. People pilgrimage here. Anything goes here, doesn't it? It's very diverse, very, just anything goes. There's no, you can't do that really.
Oh, anything goes.
Yeah, lots of different types of people. And you used to be in a corporate job, didn't you?
Yeah.
So after that, when you transitioned out of your corporate job, in that you got a redundancy package, or how did it work?
It was at the time of the lockdown. I lost my job in the March 2020 overnight. I was freelance corporate marketing, and then in the August that happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I couldn't have quit the job. But I believe I had the divine intervention for a reason. Because I can't say I would have continued in it, but I was obviously meant to follow the path.
And how does astrology help you? Just to say here, because I've spent these days with you, we've had snippets of times and we've done a lot of talking, and I've came across astrology a lot over the last 4 years, because I've lived in Glastonbury and have connections to these types of people. But what I've noticed about you is you do surrender, and you do accept life and all its twists and turns and all the various things. You've had some really tough initiations recently, I think we'll call them that. You've had some life events that have been quite shocking, that a lot of people would have crumbled under. Has astrology helped you with that?
Well, my astrology was what I believe that I work with past lives, and I believe that I came back to the land where something had happened to me in a previous lifetime, and I came back to relive that experience. Only in that life I died. In this life I didn't die. I lived to tell the tale. The astrology was aligned so that would happen on that day, because the astrology to me is everything as above, so below. We are mirroring the cosmos in every minute, as we are doing this today here, as Venus is in conjunction with Neptune at the end of Pisces. But yeah, I've had a lot of experiences which are indicated in my astrology. Everyone's trauma, their past lives, what they're struggling with in this life, it is all in their astrology. But it's uncovering it and understanding it. I say, you know, I had the awakening, and I coined the phrase, life is a movie, we are the star of that movie, and we have to believe in ourselves and our own abilities going forward. And those beliefs stayed with me through all the trauma that I'd experienced as a young child, as a teenager, and even the experiences that I had when I came to Glastonbury. I stayed in my heart, because in order to face the trauma, some people have to face it head on and relive it. And it was especially with the church as well for myself. And
I relate to that. I've had to place it head on and relive it.
We have to face
quite
it.
a lot of my guests on this podcast have been through these types of initiations. So, oh my God, you're some woman, girl. I've just had my chart read in this beautiful place, and Rainbow has looked at my career, and it was so spot on. Hey, Rainbow. That was really good, thank you. And I'm definitely be booking her for more, because I think this could be a journey that I could go on and just keep going back for more, like I said, and learning more about myself and looking at the trauma and the wounding and all the various things. So how does this work with you?
Well, I've done astrology since I was 10-year-old, and it spoke to me then. But obviously, in recent years, it's come back through to me, and I just know.
You just know.
I feel the cosmos speaks directly to me. I'm highly intuitive.
Yeah.
In the realms of the planets and how they speak to me.
Okay, Rainbow, we're near. We've actually moved position, and there's the Abbey over there. We're at the herb garden. Got my thumb there because I put it over the camera. We're near some trees, and you've been looking at my chart for I think about 4, 5, 6 days now, and I've been listening to you. Your depth of knowledge is absolutely incredible. Just in that time has really helped me understand myself, and I'm excited to show viewers what you do. Now I know that when people come to you, you don't have your charts like this. I know you've done all that before, and I know that you simplify things for people. And I also understand that you want to teach people how to read themselves and just make astrology easy for people. But right now, you're going to give me some information that I don't have about myself. I'm really, really excited. And that'll show people the kind of things that you look into. So if you go ahead, I can't wait to hear.
Well, I have your chart here. Okay. What I look at and what I found out about you, I've covered the areas that I feel were most significant to me, and you had indicated the sort of 10th house career area of your chart. Now, primarily indicated by the 10th house, the midheaven, the MC, the sign on the cusp, and the planets residing within it. That is what identifies the 10th house cusp. Now, you have the sun in the 10th house, and it's at 8 degrees. Now, I use the degrees as well when looking at the planets, because they give an energy of how that relates to the psychological states of awareness that the client actually has within their makeup when they were born. Obviously, the natal chart is the blueprint DNA of when they first came into this incarnation. But I also look at the planets that transit round the outside, so it doesn't just give a birth chart reading of who the person is psychologically, but it actually works with the transiting planets, which is what is happening at the moment, because the planetary alignments are so profound at the moment that, you know, the shifts that are happening for people, all at different times, dependent on their level of consciousness. So with your 10th house, you have the sign of Taurus, which is the master builder, and the manifestation. It's actually ruled by the number 10, which is the degree of manifestation, and you work slowly towards your goals, progressing and protecting the work as you go. Your midheaven is at 14 degrees of Aries, which is 14 adds to a 5, which is a net 5 degree, which links to Mercury. So you are a fabulous communicator, and that will be the nature of your work. Okay. Now, also you have Mercury in the 10th house, which is how we think, speak, communicate. And obviously it's at 28 degrees of Taurus. Now, this degree is fabulous because you are committed in your feelings to achieving this in your manifestations, in your career. Also with the sun at 8 is a commitment degree to make decisions for the self, because it actually falls in the first decan. So the decisions you make about for you and your personal career. In another lifetime, because that's something I do like to look at, either with the planetary asteroids or actually with the planets themselves or the houses, there was a bruise with an asteroid called Waldermath, and on acting on the heart's focus and desires. And in another lifetime, this sits in your 10th house, so it may have affected you in a previous lifetime. So in this life, you've come back, you're going to act on it, you're going to achieve in your career, and you're going to manifest exactly what you struggled with in that previous lifetime.
I'm just going to ask you a question about that, Rainbow, because you've got to know me, and I know that you're particularly interested in helping people move through challenges, which we in the spiritual world we would call the shadow, right?
Yes.
So is that one of my shadows that I'm here to move through?
Yes, it's not a major challenge, not like Chiron or Chariklo, but Waldermath is what we call a bruise.
Yeah.
So there was something there from another lifetime. And the fact that it sits very closely with your Mercury, it's within a 1 degree orb of your Mercury, so it's 1 degree apart. And that Mercury also ties into your Jupiter. So in another lifetime, you may have expanded your voice in such a way that you felt bruised and you didn't achieve what you wanted to, because you were perhaps judged, you perhaps didn't do it in quite the right way, you didn't manifest in the way you wanted to. So in this life, you wanted to come back and say, the bruise is there, but in this life, I'm going to overcome that, and I'm going to get it right and manifest exactly the life I want this time around.
Yeah.
I mean, the past life can come through any house, and the asteroids can sit in any house at all. But your Mercury in the 10th house is interesting because it does form a trine with Jupiter. Now that's the house of value and income, and they work well together and will be more achievable after the transiting South Node, because the South Node is going to pass over your Jupiter in your 2nd house of wealth, income, self-esteem, self-value, and the house of manifestation.
What does this mean then? Because I'm all about manifestation, and I'm all about getting my voice out there and getting this message out there that I'm with my book and this podcast. So what does that mean for me?
Well, it means in this life it will work well. And Taurus, of course, where your Jupiter sits is in Taurus. I mean, obviously, I'll show you the chart.
Yeah.
Mercury is in your career house. Jupiter is in your house of wealth and income, and they're working very well together with each other.
And what can I do? Because I wanted to set this business up in 2021, and it's only now that it feels like it's working. So is there anything that I can do or be mindful of?
I think you've had to wait, Joanne,
Yeah.
for the divine timing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had the idea to do it, as a lot of people had ideas, you know,
Yeah.
3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's only now that the planets are lining up.
And as we're filming this, it's the 27th of March, isn't it? So is it lining up for me soon?
It's lining up because Jupiter, the South Node is presently transiting through the sign of Virgo.
Yeah.
And the South Node is applying to your Jupiter, which is in Virgo at 26 degrees of Virgo.
Yeah.
So as Jupiter becomes exact, which will be around mid-April, when the South Node is at 26 degrees of Virgo, it'll conjunct with Jupiter in the transit at that commitment degree, because 6, it's at 26. So 6 is the Venus, which is your receiving. 2 is the feelings. So it's receiving your feelings in a committed way when Jupiter conjuncts that. It will be connecting into the bruise, but you're going to overcome that.
Wow.
Because a lot of the bruising and healing is being healed by, we've currently got a Chiron to Mars square, which is actually bringing through, and Chiron's been bringing through healing for a long time over the past 2 years for people.
This is like music to my ears. And my birthday's on the 29th of April, so what a great birthday present.
Oh yes, yeah.
As I'm walking around the Abbey with Angela, she can't stop talking about astrology. She's so enthusiastic about it. It's like a walking astrologer. I wish I could spend all day with this woman. She just lives, breathes and eats astrology, don't you?
I do.
So Rainbow, you've just been saying there's a lot in my chart, right? And you're saying you could work quite a lot in my chart, and I know you're going to offer 6-session kind of packages for people. Just explain, we're here now, you're giving me a bit of it, how this could work in my everyday life. Say if I bought 6 packages off you, and there's all this, look, and there's a lot of work that goes into it when you're reading for someone. I mean, you've been at this for days just for a small piece for me. Could you work with people on a theme? What kind of thing might the 6 sessions look like?
Well, like you mentioned, Joanne, you mentioned about career. So to me, the 2nd house, the 6th house and the 10th house in anyone's chart. So we've looked at the 2nd, we've looked at the 10th, and we've looked at the 6th.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, they came up all in connection, just serendipitously as we were talking. We didn't specifically ask, you didn't specifically ask about the 2nd or the 6th, but they did arrive. I work a lot with the wounding asteroids. because I think the timelines that are clearing from the dark age of Pisces, people's woundings have come up as
Yeah.
these timelines exit. So if I was working with people, I'd look at what they were particularly struggling with first, and I would tune in, like you asked me to tune in on the career.
Yeah.
I could tune in if they were experiencing, you know, emotional difficulties or practical difficulties or beliefs about themselves or self-love difficulties, or they just, you know, they just couldn't understand or see parts of themselves.
So they could come to you, say, once a month. You could give them a little bit.
Yes.
And then they could go away and work on that and then come back to you the month after.
They could. I mean, I want to teach everyone to be their own astrologer, because that way people, I'm not saying that people won't need to consult astrologers, but basically if we all learn to be our sort of own
Could you do that?
journey, our own star, who we're meant to be.
So could you do that in 6 sessions?
You probably could, depending on the depth of the work, because I mean everybody's at a different psychological level. So, you know, obviously some people will have a lot more to clear than other people. Some people probably will be okay, and they'll just sort of come to the realization, and they just needed the confirmation of what they were thinking anyway.
It would be an intuitive thing that you'd work with people.
I work very intuitively with the planets. I will look at obviously the technical astrological aspects, but I do look at the degrees, and I look for repetition of degrees in the chart, because those give me an energy of how that person psychologically, or where their soul is entering their body. You know, I think that's very important.
And you work with past life as well.
I work with past life. I work with the asteroids. And obviously the step degrees of the planets with the different areas of life. So whether it be personal, so if for example someone had a Saturn in, say, at 4 degrees, it's different to a person who's got a Saturn at 14 degrees. They're working with different things, either personally or in day-to-day life.
So what you're saying, just explain to people, for if they wanted to book a bunch of sessions with you, what you're saying is you would work with each person intuitively, and it'd be tailored to their needs.
Yes, tailored to their needs. But basically I'd meet them initially, and obviously, you know, have a chat with them, and obviously see if they, you know, wanted to work with me. There'd be like an introductory session, because, you know, everybody's got the people that they're drawn to, and their charts would probably be attracted to mine anyway. I find that with the archetypal energies. But then, yeah, we could discuss in that first session, you know, what their issues are, what they're struggling with, and then I could give them things to take away, to look at, and I could send them articles that, you know, they may find pertinent and poignant to read, you know, in the course of the work. I'd be there if they had any questions that they wanted to ask, and then if they wanted to book further sessions and they felt it was going to be beneficial and I felt it would help them, then we could work together on it.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure having you on this podcast. It's been such a pleasure knowing you for 6 days, I think it's been, and oh my god, I feel like I've known you forever.
Probably have.
Yeah, many lifetimes maybe. You're a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul.
Thank you.
As you know, I ask 2 questions at the end of every podcast, and you know what they are, because we had a bit of a miss me not filming it last time round. The first question is, if you could go back to any point of your life and see yourself and give yourself a little message, where would you go?
The happiest moment of my life was when I had the awakening, because the pure joy and love and energy that came through from the cosmos that afternoon when I had the awakening, it just told me that I needed to love myself implicitly in my own heart and believe in myself and what I was capable of, because a lot of people do lack the self-love, and I, as a younger person, I had lacked that self-love. So the joy and the understanding that came through, and loving myself from the divine in a divine way, is how everybody must learn to love themselves and to feel that peace at oneness with the world and within themselves. And then we can share that love. Once we feel that love and peace within, we can share that love and peace to all around us. So everything, our relationships and our lives and the world will change.
I know you're doing that already. You're definitely doing it. And the last question is, one message to our viewers. I already know what this is, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message. What is it?
Always believe in yourself and your abilities. And always love yourself and love yourself some more. Not in an egotistical way, but in a genuine, heartfelt way for your inner child with the love and compassion that our soul deserves. You know, we owe that to ourselves. And let's just all change the world for a better belief.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm really looking forward to the journey ahead and getting more readings with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you too.